I've been a little quiet lately. Oh, listen, everybody stopped. It's been an interesting breeding season. First of all, I'm a property manager, and I've had a lot of properties to manage lately, so I got very busy. But on top of that, at the beginning of the season, I was medicating my borks to see, with some ranitazole, which is an antimicrobial, to see if that would clear up whatever it was that caused all their babies to die last time. And it made a dramatic change in them. So I went ahead and thought, well, if they have bugs, that's probably why the cockatiels, the one pair of cockatiels failed last time too. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just treat the cockatiels as well. And then I thought, well, I'll treat the parakeets as well. Although I did have only a couple of pairs that had issues with dying embryos last time. Stuff like that spreads really fast, though. So I really felt like I needed to treat everybody. So I did that, and it interrupted pairs that I had already set up and who had already started laying eggs. So I had a few pairs that laid 2 or 3 eggs, and then because of the medication, stopped laying. But then the more dramatic part of it was I managed to give everybody yeast infections, intestinal yeast. And I could see that they really weren't feeling well. So I went ahead and treated everybody with sodium benzoate in the hope of pulling them back from that. And it turned out that when towards the last, I treated them for 2 weeks with the sodium benzoate, which is not enough. Most of them that were sick relapsed as soon as I was done. And it apparently interfered with the development of embryos. So lined up with the time between like the 10th and 14th day of the sodium benzoate treatment, I got a whole bunch of dead embryos. They developed well, but then they died in late stage. So I had 3 nests fail completely, and I'm quite sure it's because of the sodium benzoate. So note to self, sodium benzoate is not baby chick friendly. I already knew that. I knew that it could stunt growth in little pinkies. But it is also not friendly to hens that are laying. So I got hiccups and bumps, but I also had massive quantities of fertility, and I have gotten 30 very nice babies so far. Or more than 30. I've banded 30. There's a dozen more to go. So my fosters were some of the pairs that were very much disrupted. One of the hens never settled, so I pulled her because she was creating violence, and then 2 others had never managed to. One of them laid a bunch of eggs that didn't hatch because of the sodium benzoate, and the other one had such terrible yeast infection that I didn't want her raising any chicks, so I pulled all her eggs and pulled her out. So these 2, my blue pair, are raising the only 2 chicks that hatched out of Zephyr and Robin's babies. So these little guys are split to recessive pied, and they're beautiful little babies, and they look really good. Hi, little boos. How are you doing? They're like, what are you doing? You're not my mom. So they're doing beautifully. And this is a pair that's really performed well for me pretty consistently. This hen is a rock star mom, so. My cockatiels down here, they, of course, completely failed to lay, but this time it was, not to hatch out any babies, but this time it was not because the babies turned green inside the shell and died. Whatever bug it was that was causing that is gone now because of the ranitazole, but they all failed to hatch babies because of the sodium benzoate. So I took, all of their dead eggs, etc., and reset them. And Zoo and Cotton, they were due to hatch an egg on the 16th, and today is the 18th. But they often, I'm pretty sure that Cotton waited a few days before she started sitting. And the fact that they're sitting out so tight on there, and Zoo isn't out here trying to kill me, there he is, you see his little face in there, probably means that they've got a chick peeping inside an egg or hatching, and something's happening soon. Fingers crossed that I will finally get some healthy cockatiel chicks. These guys are due to start hatching out in another week. This is Bubba Jr. and lapis lazuli. And they have 3 fat, sassy little babies. The first one is banded. As soon as the third one is banded, they get their box cleaned. I have a lot of hens that have gummy faces this time around. I suspect it's snot, but they're not terribly ill or anything like that, so I'm not overly worried about it. So you can see her face is a little messed up, but it's not the end of the world. This is McCabe and his girl, Samore. And Samore did something interesting. She laid all of her eggs before she started sitting on them and hatched them all out at once. So in a matter of 24 hours, I went from 0 chicks to 3. Go on, Missy. Out you go. Shoo shoo. Yeah. Went from 0 chicks to 3. They're all little teeny tinies. They are doing very well. So I'm tickled pink. This is Kenny Loggins. Oh, look, he's got a baby out. I just pulled mom. So I pulled the hens at 25 days. And today was her day, so I just pulled her out. I'm going to take this little guy and stick him back in again. Because tomorrow, the day I pull the hens, I don't change anything for the cocks. And tomorrow, I'm sorry, I'm pointing you off in the other direction. Oops. Little Boo, come here. He's just very cranky. Go get back in your box. Go on, shoo shoo. Okay. So, tomorrow, I will pull all the hay out and clean out the cage and put the water in a ceramic dish. And then the next day, I'll take the box and dump the chicks on the floor of the cage. So, I'll just put that little baby back in. If he comes out, it's okay, but the cage isn't as clean as I would like, so. Oh, you didn't get to see the rest of them. So obviously that little guy looks just like Daddy. And then we have a double factor spangle and a normal. All ready and raring to go. Look at you, you're the cute little thing. He says, I'm not speaking to you. It's very scary. Okay, so the yeast infection causes some hens to pluck their chicks. I'm not sure I'd really call it plucking. They're nibbling all their down off. But it's not good. And it can, I've never had it happen, but I have heard that it can progress to a point where they actually pull the pin feathers out of the chicks and damage them permanently, causing much blood and the whole thing. But my birds to date nibble all their down off, but leave their primary pin feathers in place. So this is Indus, and his girl powder got really, really bad yeast infection. So as you can see, their pin feathers are there, but the rest of them is naked. So I had to pull her really early. Her 25 days isn't for another, like, 8 days. But I couldn't see letting her continue to pluck them for 8 days because I worried that would, first of all, she was really sick. She's very light. And second of all, it could progress to the point where she starts damaging babies. So I left Dad in here alone. He's also a little underweight, but in much better condition than Mama was. So, and I'm going to watch him very carefully. If he starts having trouble keeping these babies fed, I'll move one to somebody else's box and cut down on his responsibilities, etc. So, but Indus is a good daddy, so I'm pretty sure he'll do fine. This is, they're not here. This is O'Dowd. He's a Haverty boy. And I put him in here with Buttermint, whom I call Minty, after she got treated because she felt a lot better. And he never got sick in the first place. So they were a late setup. And they have been hatching some babies. All right, come on, you guys. I know you're in there. There's Daddy. There's Mama. And she's got 3 little babies in there. Is that Dad? That's Dad in there still. Go on, Daddy. Shoo, shoo. They are very cranky. All right, I'll leave you babies alone. Anyway, they do have another embryo in there because I was going to foster their 4th chick to one of the foster hens, but she was so sick I decided not to. So if that last egg hatches, they're going to have to raise it because I don't have any place else for it to go. It's due to hatch day after tomorrow, I think. This is another late pair that I put in. This is Blue Morpho and Loren. And although the first few of their eggs were blank, they did end up with 2 solid embryos in there. Unfortunately, I was thinking there's 4 in here and 2 in there, and I'd be able to foster the last one that way. But, because her hatch date is just in a few days. But her first 2 or 3 eggs were blank, which means really there's a whole other week before either of these babies hatch. So we'll see how it plays. So they're the last pair going out for this group. This is Unakite, and I just pulled his hen today. And they have 3 beautiful, large, strapping babies. The oldest one is a pied. Mama's a spangled pied and Daddy's normal. So the oldest one is a straight pied. The middle one is an opaline spangle. That's the little light blue one down there. And the youngest one is that little yellow face one. Got Daddy's yellow face, and he is a spangled pied. So he's going to be mostly yellow with a little bit of blue here and there. Hi, baby. He felt, who are you? What you doing out there? So again, tomorrow they get their cage cleaned, and then the next day I'll dump the babies out. This is Dolerite. I have been trying to get babies out of him forever. He's not very big, but he has excellent. He has a nice feather, and if he had a mask all the way around, he would be a decent showbird. He's not good shoulders and the whole thing. But he has a pied spot on half of his mask, which means he's not really showable. But he is breedable, and I kept breeding him with the wrong hen. Well, I finally got him with the right hen. And we have a whole bunch of little babies. Now, he's worried that I'm going to take his babies, because I've taken sick babies from him before. So I'm going to cut this quick. But, okay, boy, don't worry. I'm not going to take him. But his girl's pull date was yesterday. It was Shamrock, my pretty little green one in here. And she was a great mom, but I caught her today sitting in the hole of the nest box and not letting Dad in. And once hens start doing that, she's jealous because he's feeding babies, and that's a breeding ritual, and it means she's about to flip. So I pulled her a day early. Here's my moms sitting here like they are pissed because they were getting ready to reset, and all of a sudden I took them. But they will adapt. This is Danube. And I bred Danube to Pansy. Pansy I got from somebody else. She's a gray wing, opaline, Texas clear body. And the result is that she's an all-white bird with violet markings on her wings. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I want to recreate that. So what I wanted, he split to gray wing. So what I want out of this is boys who will be split to Texas clear body, split to opaline, because that's what their mother is. And they will either be normal split to gray wing or full-on gray wings. But only the boys are useful here. If I get girls, they're not going to be anything because both opaline and Texas clear body is sex-linked. So I am praying to God that I've got boys in here. These 2 were also interrupted by the medication, so I only got 2 fertile eggs, but she hatched them both out, and they're in good shape. And they're both gray wings. So that's a plus, but only if they're boys. See that pretty little gray wing there? And this is his little brother. He looks like he's going to be a slightly darker gray wing, but still a gray wing. So I'm really hoping that at least one of these guys is a boy. Give me boys. There's Pansy right there. See, she's pure white. Her markings on her mask are violet, and her markings on her wings are violet. She's a really cool looking bird. Okay, so the reason I want those to be boys is because since they're both gray wings, if I bred them to a gray wing hen, some of their baby girls would come out opaline Texas clear body. And that's what I'm after. So this is Unakite's brother Dacite. His hen, again interrupted by the medication, laid 2 embryos that both fizzled. So they ended up fostering, even though they're a tremendously valuable pair. But I'll breed them again in the fall. So they have Niall's largest chick. Oh, Niall's hen had the yeast infection really bad, and their youngest chick got it, ended up with a crop that was just a bubble of air, and eventually died. So I pulled the other one, because when you have chicks like that, it means the parents are sick, and when you put the chick in a different cage, they instantly heal because the new parent isn't sick and isn't feeding them illness anymore. So I put Niall's chick in here. The second chick is O'Connor and Clement's baby, and the third chick is Astor's baby, Kenny Logan's baby. And these guys are lovely, but their mother did great right up until the very end, and then all of a sudden she plucked the feathers off their backs. So I pulled her, but her date was coming up in like 2 days anyway, so it's not bad, and Dad can very easily take care of them. And they still have most of their down, so I don't have to worry about them being too cold. So, but they're lovely babies. That little double factor spangle is O'Connor and Clement's baby, little rock star. So this is Amenadiel. His hen started plucking earlier on, so I pulled her early. She was not supposed to get pulled off until this Friday. Yeah, but I pulled her out 4 or 5 days ago because she was plucking them so severely that I worried it would escalate. So now they are growing feathers, and we got a beautiful, it looks like a violet. Yeah, that's a violet spangle, and this is a big solid baby. So what I was looking for was to put a Amenadiel feather on a good size